In this video, we are going to talk about inborn errors of the phenylalanine. So the most common inborn error that we know about is the phenylketonuria. Another one is going to be our alkaptonuria, and another one is going to be our albinism and hyperthyroxanemia. So these are the four important inborn error that is going to concern with that, our phenylalanine. So in this case of this phenylketonuria, so what causes a phenylketonuria? Generally we know that phenylalanine is going to convert it into tyrosine through the phenylalanine hydroxylase. If there is any deficiency of this phenylalanine hydroxylase, which will not cause a conversion of this phenylalanine to tyrosine, on that cases this phenylalanine will take another form of route here. You can see that another form of route. So that is the phenylalanine can be converted to phenyl pyruvate, and that pyruvate is going to convert it into that of our lactate. Sometimes this pyruvate can enter into acetoacetate, and then they will form the phenylacetyl glutamine. So this is through the transamination reaction, this is through the reduction reaction. You can see we also see one transaminase in the catabolism of phenylalanine. So there is alpha ketoglutarate is going to convert into glutamate. So similarly, there is also another transaminase. There is also decarboxylation that we call as acetate, and there is a conjugation reaction that causes acetylglutamine. Okay. In this condition, the phenylalanine will not be converted into tyrosine. Instead, they will be formed like this, another route as such. Okay, so this can lead to so much of the problems. Like if you see the children, they will be having a mental retardation. Okay, so they will be IQ level is less than 50. They will be having a mental retardation. They will also hyperactive. They will have a convulsions. And they will be hypopigmentation. Because why? There is no tyrosine production. Because of this deficiency of phenyl hydride, there is no tyrosine production, due to which they will be hypopigmented. Okay, and there is a phenyl acetic acid. You know, this is a phenyl acetate is going to produce here. So through this phenyl acetic acid is excreted in the sweat, so that the patient sweat may lead to the mousy body odors like that. So how will you going to diagnose this? So we can diagnose this by measuring the blood phenylalanine level. Normally it is going to be 1 milligram per deciliter, but in the case of the phenylketonuria it's more than 20. And there is also tanned mass spectroscopy. It's one of the important diagnostic method for this phenylketonuria. So then we have a Go3 test. We got the ferric chloride test. These are the important tests that we can find out for the phenylketonuria. So among that, we are going to talk about Go3 test. So what is Go3 test is that the rapid screening test what you have. Generally, you have to keep in mind that certain Bacillus subtilis that is requires a phenylalanine. Certain bacteria varieties, they will always require a phenylalanine. If there is no phenylalanine, there is no bacteria. So from that we can find out that if in the blood, if there is a bacteria, that indicates that there is a phenylalanine. If there is no bacteria, that indicates that there is no phenylalanine. So using this bacteria also we can found this Go3 test. Using the Go3 test, we can find out the phenylalanine deficiency. Another one is a ferric chloride test. What is the ferric chloride test? We are going to take the urine of this patient which contain the phenyl ketones, and we are going to talk of ferric chloride to that. So that ferric chloride, if there is any phenyl ketone is that is going to show you the blue-green color as a positive indicator test for this. So this are the diagnostic test for our phenylketonuria.